This is a Together Adventure podcast.
Hello and welcome to Together Adventure, the actual play podcast where we dive deep into the world of tabletop role-playing games, exploring rules, sharing experiences, and spreading the joy of collaborative storytelling. I am your Dungeon Master, Scott McArdle, and today we are embarking on a Session 0 for our upcoming Dungeons & Dragons Big Bite. I'm lucky to be joined by a cast of Nat 20s.
Hello, I'm Rhianna Hall, and I'll be playing Penny Pigfoot, a halfling ranger who's an apprentice cook in the kitchens at Hammer Hall.
Hi everyone, my name is Marie Cole and I'm playing Brava Oathbound, an orc bard from Merryforge.
My name is Tristan McInnes, and I'll be playing Tash Carver, a human monk who is a veteran of the War of Seven Seasons and has since become a mentor to Brava, Marie's character.
Hi, my name is Mads DeYoung, and I'm playing Nora Baronet, a young half-elven girl who is currently apprenticing beneath the court wizard at Hammer Hall.
We're going to be building these characters today for our upcoming Dungeons & Dragons Big Bite. We'll be rolling statistics, discussing backstory, and chatting all about the world's most popular tabletop role-playing game. A reminder that as we play today, any rulings or lore that require elaboration can be found on our website. Just look for the timestamp and you'll find an explanation or a link to official websites. If we've missed anything or made a mistake, drop into our DMs to let us know. So without further ado, let's chat Dungeons, Dragons, and Dice. Now, for this Big Bite, and because this is our first Session 0, I'll expand on Big Bite a little bit in that it's not quite a full campaign, and it's not quite a one-shot. It's something in between to give our listeners a bit of a taste of what this tabletop role-playing game is. And for our very first one, we're going to be tackling the most popular and the most well-known one, but we're going to be debunking and discussing things. We're going to be discussing things that people might not be talking about around their table, and that might shed a bit more light on it. And so D&D and the D&D we're going to be playing is no longer 5th edition, where we're going to mourn 5th edition. We'll hold a funeral for them later. Everyone, a moment of silence. We'll edit that moment of silence to be a bit shorter. Now, it's also not one D&D as it was billed at. They're just now that they've released the Player's Handbook and the Dungeon Master's Guide, they're just calling it Dungeons and Dragons. I'm sure it'll never bite them in the butt that they're just billing it at that and that they're throwing away the fact that there have been edition after edition anymore. So it's just called D&D now.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I did notice that when I was trying to search stuff. I was like, why is this so hard to search? Yeah.
D&D is now a monoculture. That's where we're at. It's just the one thing. Like, love it or hate it, we're not really here to debate, I guess, the politics of D&D and what's going on and the missteps of that company over the past few years. We're just here to engage with the game that we love. We did a bit of a rehearsal with these rules, with things like weapon masteries, streamlining, things like that. Overall, the new D&D rule set feels more generous to players, which it is all about the players, isn't it, this game? We do want to give them...
Correct.
Speaking as a player, yes.
Every goddamn opportunity to succeed.
I'm sure Scott won't take that out on us at all.
No.
Absolutely
not
fine.
At all.
We would be remiss to not throw back and talk about the context a little bit of D&D, a game that was created in 1974 by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. Now, Dave's name is not really synonymous with the game anymore. Gary's name more is. But the game itself has kind of outgrown those names in a way with who's bought it and kind of some historical controversies as well with Gygax in particular, as the game kind of moves in a very different direction. If you're wondering at home what I'm talking about, you can of course go and look up Gary Gygax misogynist on Google. I'm not saying he is, I'm just saying on Google, that brings up stuff. The game itself is now owned by Wizards of the Coast, which is a subsidiary of Hasbro. So this is now a massive company. They own Magic the Gathering. What other? They own Monopoly. That's obviously like the big Hasbro thing that they own in there. I think Magic is its biggest earner. I looked this up the other day that Magic earns $1 billion a year. So for comparison, D&D is earning about 100 to 200 million. So then it's sort of 10 times that with Matt. Tristan, you're like nodding like you know.
I'm nodding and I'm pursing my lips.
Yeah. Well, this is something that you and I spoke about a few weeks ago, that Magic the Gathering is just a sink that you pour money into.
It is a time sink. It's a money sink. It is a life sink. And I really want to desync it from my life, but it's now got a niche.
So it earns $1 billion for Hasbro. There's then its own, we're going to talk about Magic the Gathering for a moment. Together Adventure presents Magic the Gathering.
That would be terrible.
Would be terrible. No video, just podcast. Incredible. But Magic earns $1 billion. There's then its own economy, right? Between like players and stuff like that working there. How much a year do you think you spend on Magic?
Last month, I spent $300 on Magic the Gathering.
That's actually probably quite tame, isn't it? I'm not a player myself, but I'm married to one.
I haven't spent money on Magic the Gathering for at least a year. You got to cut off hard.
You do. You have to say enough is enough at a certain point.
It was a treat month.
It was a treat. Look, okay, I spent $300 at a game retailer on Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah, support local stores.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
I've also visited eBay.
Sure.
And, bought singles, and that's a whole other discussion.
Hot singles in your eBay area.
Always for me.
So to get us back on track. So D&D is owned by that same company. Now, it itself was inspired by wargaming, these classic tabletop war games. But the point of difference in the original D&D from these games was that players instead controlled one character and really role-played that rather than sort of a tactical army controller, kind of like Command and Conquer or like Warhammer, I guess, as well. And then obviously we now know, and why this podcast exists, is that there are so many tabletop role-playing games out there that have sort of spawned from this. Now, D&D itself as a game takes place typically in fantasy worlds. So popular settings include Greyhawk, which was the first and the original, Gary Gygax. That was his home setting. The Forgotten Realms, which is the current sort of most popular one. Faerun exists in the Forgotten Realms on Abatoril, which is the planet that it's set on there. Dark Sun, which I played a bit of when I was young, which is kind of like this kind of like Mad Max dystopian setting as well, where magic has drained all of the natural life from the world and kind of king sorcerers reign. Very gritty, very edgy. If you're ever like asked on a date to go and like play Dark Sun with someone, don't do it.
We're just about to start a campaign in Dark Sun with my regular crew.
Yeah, but you all know and trust each other.
Well, yep.
You all know each other. Does anyone have any like other settings or like settings that they've played in that they love, that they feel really fond of, that are synonymous for D&D for them?
Ravenloft.
Hell yeah.
My first ever D&D campaign was Curse of Strahd.
Barovia.
Very gothic horror.
That's the one I'm running at the moment for a family group, and it's just so much fun. It's great. It's terrifying.
There's something deeply sinister about luring a family to Barovia to then play Strahd to feast on their
It's also my
mads.
literal family.
Something very sinister.
We won't look at that too closely.
Yeah. We can move
Let's
on.
move on.
Ree, you've mostly played with me. We played a brief touch on 4th edition when we were at uni, and then we mainly played in 5th edition, and we played in Faerun. We played in the Forgotten Realms with the kind of 5th edition. That was the main place there.
Yeah. I really enjoyed just exploring like the Underdark as well there. Like it was just so different and not something I'd explored before.
So rarely will people say I enjoyed exploring the Underdark.
I don't know why I did. I just did. I was even playing a good character.
Yeah. You were playing a lawful good wizard.
Yeah.
Marie?
No, just that kind of Lord of the Rings kind of world that is kind of the Forgotten Realms, I suppose. But also I think what blew my mind when I first started playing was that people were like, but you can just play it in a real life world or a high school or like that kind of like, I think because I'd come so much from a fantasy background or playing lots of RPGs on, computer games and stuff, that you could just play this game, I don't know, anywhere.
Yeah, it is interesting because I think back in the day you could apply it to anything, but now you'd be like, what is the rule set or game that best suits that location and that setting, which is kind of what this podcast is about, right? Of like finding the tabletop role-playing game that is enabling them to tell the stories that they want to tell. Like we have Dark Sun in D&D, but I would argue if you want to play in that world, play Morkborg, which is new and expands on it. It's sitting right behind me. I have a very soft spot for Morkborg, and is really great in there. And then for something in a high school, play Kids on Bikes. So I think there's a lot to be said about the right rule set in the right setting as well. Whereas like, I don't think playing D&D rules in like a high school setting necessarily works well, unless you're doing like Fantasy High Dimension 20, where it is really D&D kind of reskinned as, or like John Hughes reskinned as D&D in a way.
I think when first shown these things, I only knew of D&D. So maybe even these people were talking about TTRPGs in general, which is kind of the point of the podcast.
You should listen to
Right?
it, Marie.
I should.
You'll learn lots.
You'll get so much out of it. Yeah.
And so these worlds in D&D in particular are populated with these kind of fantasy species and stories that usually revolve around epic quests and adventures, slaying monsters, growing in power as you do. So we're looking at things like your Lord of the Rings, we're looking at your Harry Potters, those kind of fantasy stories about epic quests, epic high stakes. You're kind of into the like mundanity of everyday life. You're maybe looking at different TTRPGs and stuff like that, but these ones typically are about big power, big stakes, big magic in a way. I'm watching Arcane at the moment on Netflix, which is a League of Legends kind of world, which is that kind of fantasy D&D world as well. And I'm watching Arcane going, I really want this to be a D&D TV series. Like I'm actually enjoying this more than Vox Machina in a way, and I just find the world so interesting. It's very Eberron as well, with its sort of steampunk and hex tech stuff in there. Is anyone else watching Arcane?
Yeah, but then you realize it's League of Legends.
Yeah. Yep. Nerds. I think we were at PAX not too long ago, and a friend of mine was emceeing something at the front. Shout out to Pav. And I was like, Marie, let's stop and watch this for a bit. And it was a tournament, and it was League of Legends, and we were there for about a minute, and I went, we're gonna leave now. It's just so devastatingly boring. No offense to anyone who loves League of Legends.
It really is the cricket of video games.
Truly a good way to
Like,
describe
yeah,
that.
so is it like really fun to play, but maybe not to watch someone else play?
I think so.
Right?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
Great. Undoubtedly, this game, though, is the most popular in the world and has had the biggest cultural impact of, I would say, almost any game, video, board, or tabletop, period. It is now one of the great video games of our time in Baldur's Gate 3. It has become one of the great video games there, and it just has this massive cultural impact now that when people I meet are like, what's D&D? Someone said this to me the other day when I went to get, it's a little surprise for you guys, so I can't tell you what, went to get something made, and they went, what's D&D? And I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've had to answer that. Whereas like that was my youth of like, I can't like, even if I say it, the bullies might not know what I mean, but they'll infer by context.
That might just be the bubbles you're in now, Scott, because I feel like I'm answering that on a daily basis.
What are your bubbles and why are they?
Bullies.
I'm hanging with the crew of
Hang with
bullies.
bullies,
Teachers, maybe? I don't know, or I feel
Butch
like, who
and the
did I say?
gang.
Well, even at Coded Comedy rehearsal or rehearsals last night, only one other person was like, knew what D&D was.
And these are actors?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who casts actors for a living, you give me their names, they're never going to get a job in this city again.
On our level.
This game is just acting practice. That's all this game is with dice rolls.
100%.
Yeah.
With maths.
Yeah, yeah.
I did have someone at work ask me about it the other day, and they said, "Is that dragons and danger?" And I was like, I mean,
Oh, I love
yes, but it's
that.
got...
I want to play Dragons in Danger.
Doesn't it sound fun?
I would prefer to just rename it, and Tristan is aware of this gag as well. I would prefer to rename this game just Caves.
Caves, caves. It's all we go into.
Everything outside of a cave happens like cut screen between sessions. While it is the most popular, I will say this so many times on this podcast, I don't think it's the right one to start new players on. I think it is mechanically very crunchy. It's very lore heavy. Playing in fantasy worlds have a lot of things going on in lore in terms of magic, religion, how those kind of things work in there. I do think there are other games that if you're stepping into the TTRPG realm, are better to test the waters with to see if you like in there. I know the urge is to, pick it up because it's super popular, but I think ease in with other ones. And there are other fantasy ones that are also much easier to learn and play. Kids with Bikes is really easy. And then there's a fantasy spin-off of it called Kids with Brooms, which if you want to do like a Harry Potter type campaign, you would do Kids with Brooms rather than D&D is my recommendation.
Another system that uses I think it's the Heroes of the Apocalypse system is Dungeon World, where it's you're just rolling d6s, and it's you don't have to overcomplicate things with a whole polyhedral menagerie.
I do love a polyhedral menagerie.
Me too. Well, collecting dice is
Oh,
also
boy.
a huge part of this.
If we want to talk about sinking money into a game.
Yeah. Just get me some shiny dice and I'm all there.
So we're going to take a look at rules now as we go into this to just give our listeners at home a little bit of a sense of some of the rules that we'll be using while we play. Now, we will also be releasing a document with every single Big Bite session that goes alongside the podcast. If there is a rule or a term we use that is related to the game, you'll find a definition to it or a link to that ruling so that you know what's going on. I've listened to so many podcasts where they'll pull out a spell or something and it will resolve very quickly. And I'll go, sorry, what? Huh? What's happened there? What's going on there? Why are we doing that? Why are they rolling that extra dice? Why is this happening? What is this homebrew spell you've made up that has suddenly nerfed the villain? So we're going to be kind of releasing almost an appendix to go alongside our Big Bites, but we'll give you just a little taste now as well, an amuse-bouche, if you will. Now, as I said, this is one of the more mechanically dense role-playing games. Not only do you have your main characteristics and your characteristic score there, that then breaks down into a modifier, which then goes over to your list of skills, which then goes over to your saving throws. But don't forget to add proficiency to some of them. You've then got your features, your spells, your equipment management, combat rules, and so much more. There are so many different categories of things to be checking on. It then makes it, in the heat of the moment, really tricky when like a player realizes that they had a feat that was like 3 pages down that could have been really clutch in that moment. And so I think when you're DMing D&D, being really generous and allowing things to be walked back within a certain time frame is really important as well. I won't be doing that because I'm not a generous person.
The soft sounds of player tears.
There's no tears, audience. They're lying
We're
to you.
all crying.
They're trying to get me offside with you. The audience, who I love dearly because you're so attractive and intelligent and smart, not like my goddamn players.
What?
Now, typically a game of D&D revolves around a party of adventurers. There's no specific set size, though like a party can be between usually like 3 to 7 is like 7 is really pushing it. I ran with 7 for 5 odd years and it was really pushing it. And they engage in a quest planned by their dungeon master. They work as a team to tell their unique story, whether that ends in success or failure. Often it's irrelevant whether it ends in success or failure. It's about the journey along the way. Now, the dungeon master prepares each session. They fill the world with locations, items, NPCs, mysteries, you name it. They're juggling a lot of balls at that time. Rules, NPCs, narration, and so much more. My pro tip to players is be responsible for your own features and rules and those things as well. You can't kind of go, oh, the DM will know what I'm talking about. The DM will remember this. The DM will remember that. The DM is not going to remember that. The DM's brain is full and is exploding. So just try to remember your little corner of the world. That goes a long way, and your DM will love you if you're just like keeping track of all of that. Now, when it comes to actually playing the game, whenever players attempt to do something that requires skill or focus, they roll a 20-sided dice, the sort of bread and butter of the game. They then find and add the corresponding skill or modifier or saving throw to whatever they're doing. Tristan, what's an example of that? What's something that a player might ask to do?
I would like to gaze into the horizon and see if I can find any landmarks.
Great. Do you have any tools that might help you with this?
Why, I have a periscope.
Beautiful. Okay, you pull out this spyglass. Yeah. This curvy periscope.
I said what I said.
He's in a submarine.
All right.
Yeah.
You pick that up.
That no context
never said
was
he was
given
on land.
as to exactly. All
is
right.
very true.
Just at the horizon. Great. So the periscope. So normally here you would roll that d20 and you'd add your perception modifier. You've got the tool for it. I'm going to allow you to roll with advantage. Essentially, you're going to roll twice. You're going to take the higher number because you've got a specific tool that's helping you see a long distance. So Tristan would roll that, add his perception mod there, and then roll and take the higher one there.
And then I can communicate with my commandant in the submarine exactly what kind of landmarks are around us. Thank you.
And that's how it's done.
Very well done.
So that's the basics of what you do session to session. But then on top of that, there's more rules. The Nat 20 or the Nat 1, also known as the critical success and failure. Technically only relevant in combat. Does not apply outside of combat as per the rules. I don't know anyone who actually applies that. Like, a Nat 20 is a Nat 20 to me and a Nat 1 is a Nat 1 to me. I just think story-wise, it elevates it more. I think only limiting that to combat for the sake of extra damage is just a little bit wild to me, whereas like you can use those critical successes and failures for narrative reasons in roleplay situations. That's way more exciting to me. Advantage and disadvantage, we just touched on it very briefly there. If players are doing something that gives them a benefit or gives them a bonus in there, let them roll twice, take the higher number. That's called advantage. Disadvantage, if they're doing something that they have less odds to achieve in there, or they're disadvantaged, literally it's in the name, they roll twice, they take the lower number in there. What's an example of when someone might have disadvantage in a situation?
There's like there's some mud on the periscope on the top of it. Yeah, and you can't really see fully.
The mud, the algae.
But don't you think that having advantage from using a periscope would cancel out the disadvantage?
So maybe it's just a normal roll.
It's a normal roll with your periscope.
But you're in a submarine, so you can't see the horizon. So you wouldn't be able to do it at all.
Okay.
Actually.
So if you are a spellcaster, let's whip around with some spellcasting classes.
Bard. Wizard.
Warlock.
Drawing blanks.
Sorcerer.
Drawing blanks. You have spells, but you are limited each day to spell slots. You've got spell saves and spell attacks as well. Some spells, when you cast them, the target has to do a saving throw to survive it. Otherwise, you're rolling an attack. So just like you would in a normal combat situation where you roll and you add your kind of skill of combat there, whether it's your skill with a sword or unarmed strikes or whatever that is. There's a lot of rolling in this game. Combat itself is really, really different. You spend so much of the game role-playing and playing out scenes and describing things and solving puzzles. And then combat suddenly kind of goes, I love the noise it makes in Baldur's Gate 3 where it goes like tuk, 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 and slows down the clock as you move into turn-based kind of actions here. Now, one round of combat equals 6 seconds. The amount of times I say that to people I play D&D with who are like, what? It's like one round is a total of 6 seconds. It's a lot of stuff happening simultaneously, but you obviously can't do that at the table, otherwise it becomes a cacophony. And so you've got your action, your bonus action, your movement, and your reaction. So it's a very different game when it comes to combat. often when you're playing a session and combat comes up, if it's towards the end of the session, it's a wise move to just like stop there, come back next session is that combat, particularly on big ones. Big ones can take session after session after session. So yeah, it's a real skill to run combat. I used to really hate running combat. I used to get really frustrated with how it disrupted narrative flow before I listened to better DMs than me about using your minis, using your tokens. I used to love running Theatre of the Imagination because I didn't have hundreds of dollars to spend on minis. And when you start to strategize with your players and let them strategize and really come up with tactics, you can see how it came from wargaming this game. And that's kind of a great thing. It becomes a different game in the game. And that's really fun. And also, combat should be narrative. The way your characters act should be based on where they are in their narrative arc as well. So it's an opportunity for roleplay and great roleplay. And so now I freaking love combat. Do you guys have any like great stories of like great combats that you've played in?
I had a champion fighter who one-shot a boss once. We just action surged. I got 3 crits. It was wildly lucky and it was just so satisfying. And it made so much sense for her because her whole thing was that she had a hero complex and just dove into battle head first. And she won. And it was like this huge moment of like, yeah, really satisfying role play that matched her story arc. And it was just so good. And the DM was so mad.
I loved actually in one like we were quite early on and my character really wanted to kill this dragon that had destroyed their home classic story. But all of us hadn't played a lot of D&D. And it was a young dragon or whatever what's the youngest dragon?
Wormling?
Next one, maybe.
The young adult.
Yeah, I think it was that. But we sort of all ran off at, level 4 or 5 or something and did the breath weapon and then we ran away. Straight away we're like, oh shit, no. And that was quite good story-wise because it was like my character's like, yes, I'm going to go, save my home again. And nope, was not ready for that.
I'll never forget early days, and Ree, you played in this one as well, playing the Lost Mines of Phandalver. Was the starting kind of campaign for 5e when we started playing 5e. And there's a young adult dragon in this tower, and the pre-written says like they should not win this fight at this level. Like, don't let them fight it. And we had a ranger in our group. Shout out to Andrew. I actually am almost positive that this Andrew is listening to this podcast because he's a champion. And he was a ranger, and he got a nat 20 to look for, and he specifically said, "I want to look for the keystone of this tower. That if it took it out." Like buildings are built with keystones. If you take out this keystone, the whole thing collapses. And I went, the specificity means I will allow the roll. Nat 20, you know where it is. Nat 20 to then hit it with an arrow, collapsed it on the dragon. Sensational. You have to pay that moment. You have to play the hits. It's so good. So good. I also will always remember great combat moment of the Zariel fight. When we did a bit of the Avernus storyline, when you guys went to redeem her and bring her back to the light, and Avengers Infinity War and Endgame had just come out, and you guys did the full Thanos grabbing the arm, forcing this magic item into her hand that changed her alignment. I actually was not prepared for how much strategy you had all done away from the table, and you all came. And it was actually kind of great because I was like, oh, I can play hard. I can play rails off because you guys are scaring me. You're coming at me and I genuinely feel like I'm fighting 6 full-on heroes. And so I was like, I need to hit them really hard. This is full on. And so that's kind of great when the battle is genuine rather than when the DM kind of you got to give them to him sometimes. Sometimes as the DM, you don't realize your strength until you have 3 of your 4 players doing death saving throws on the ground. It happens. Mostly by mistake. No one ever intends to TPK. And if they do, you're very confident.
Well put.
And finally, to talk about one final rule, and there's so many more, but one major one is rests, is the process of doing a long rest at the end of the day to recover your health and your spell slots in there. And also then short rest throughout the day to sort of spend your hit die, recover a little bit of health on the run. Sort of like a lunch break, a morning tea, a little sit down, maybe a dip in a stream. Since Baldur's Gate 3, actually, I've been like, oh, camping and rests is just an opportunity to allow players to roleplay and have great scenes with each other and with NPCs. This is great. So always on an adventure, I'm like, you guys gonna take a rest soon? Are we like, let's do I know we just did one, but like, can we do another one? Let's do more scenes at camp. That's kind of fun. So I've gotten like all these like little DM things ready about like, oh, like what kind of camp do you want to make? Is it like in a cave? Is it out? What's the weather like? What are your jobs at camp? What are you setting up? Great, you're going down to the stream. Okay, like an NPC is down there bathing. You have a little moment where they like are coming out with their towel and there's a moment down by the stream, or someone is like in the morning training and then they kind of throw you a sword and they're like, yeah, I'll show you a bit of this. And I kind of like love that stuff at the moment.
I love the like slice of life stuff in this kind of gameplay, because you're right, it is such like a huge epic story, and the little moments at camp, oh, they just feel so nice. I love it.
You take something like the Lord of the Rings, where the Fellowship is not together for very long, but you remember moments like the Boromir, Pip and Merry rolling on them, showing them how to use swords. The moment after Gandalf goes and they're all outside kind of in mourning and talking about that there. You think of them, they're like Frodo and Sam, they're eating the potatoes, scene, the cooking, boil them, mash them, chuck them in a stew. Like you remember that stuff. And that's really important because there's no stakes if we don't see our players loving and living their lives. If we don't see that, then we don't care if they lose their lives because they don't seem like fully fleshed characters. So we need to know the things they love and that they have reasons to live on and things to bring them joy. I think that's really important. We're now going to move on to what our players like and what they don't like. Now, for DMs sitting at home, I think it's really important in a session zero like what we're doing to have the honest chats. And sure, sometimes these can feel a bit funny because you're planning a plot point and then suddenly a player says, maybe you're planning a big ambush with a Drider and giant spiders, and a player says, I don't want spiders in this at all, they freak me out too much. And that can feel like a bummer. In the end, it's the best possible thing. Having your players be super comfortable, really comfortable and trusting of the table to be able to do their best roleplay is the ideal there. And so showing your players respect by factoring in the things that scare them, listening to what they like, what they don't like, and mixing that into the game. It doesn't mean it can't be challenging. It doesn't mean that you just give them everything that they love and that's easy. But it means just bringing in what they love to spark joy and to bring joy to the table and bring comfort and trust to the table. Because the act of roleplay and acting itself is a vulnerable act. And you're asking people who are not trained actors to do that for hours at a time. Even asking trained actors to improvise for hours at a time is a really daunting thing. It's a vulnerable thing. And so your players really need to trust that the person guiding them is a person who cares about them and wants to create these safe spaces in there. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the things at our table that we like and don't like. And we're going to start with just a couple of things that we don't like. Maybe our phobias or things that we don't want to factor into the game. Now, I will say straight off the bat, we're not going to have things like slavery. We're not going to have things like sexual assault play out in this game. Does anybody have anything that they want to chime in here about things that they really don't want to be confronted with in the game?
I think it's, I don't even know if this bit's going to make it in, but it's tricky because I've only ever played with you and I feel like you just know, like you've got a pretty good moral compass. I don't know what I don't like because I feel fortunate enough to not have experienced it.
I think maybe if I was in a world where it was hopeless, like, you know, like it was really sexist or something, I think sexism can be important, or, you know, against a species. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like there's no...
We're confronted by these things every day, me less so, but really aware that that's not a fun thing to play out. It can be something at your table that you tackle and themes that you tackle to create a better world. But that's what we're here to do. We're to create a better, more interesting, idyllic world for what we want to explore that doesn't bog us down in our day-to-day. It is escapism. And so we want to escape to a world that doesn't leave us feeling worse, because sometimes we do come home from the world a lot more frequently these days. We come home from the world feeling really drained and worse than when we sort of set out for the day. And so being able to play these games that lift us up and give us joy and create these stories gives us hope that we can forge these stories in the real world as well. So I think that's a really important thing to acknowledge in there, that we're not ignoring these things, but also this is a story and this is a game, and we don't have to be historically accurate. People who will say historical accuracy in defense of like Game of Thrones, are you for real? That's just like, as someone who has multiple awards for writing, you don't write historical accuracy into it. It's just like, you just don't bring that stuff into it. It's in our world. We know that. You can write around it. You can create better worlds, more interesting worlds that aren't fueled by that. And so I don't believe in the historically accurate side of things in a fantasy world.
Yeah, and I love that. I really love what you said then about you want to come away having enjoyed it. It's a game. Like, like that is really great.
I think we can just agree to not be dickheads to each other.
Totally.
I think that's a big one.
I think if you tell us that someone is a bad guy, great, I'm going to believe you. Don't need you to show him kicking a woman and a child and stuff, you know?
What just like doesn't bring us joy? This could be that like you don't enjoy puzzles because you don't enjoy that pressure and solving those. That could be something you don't enjoy, and that's fine.
I am a huge prude, so I don't enjoy like sex scenes. Like, keep me out of it, you know?
Fade to black.
Yes, fade to black. Yes, I'm happy with a smooch, but that's as far as I want to go.
Now, I know you're not a prude. Like, I feel like this is a bit the audience may not understand.
How dare you?
Well, it's interesting because your only DM really is me, and we're married, but also we find that whenever we've gone to do these scenes around the table, and we're just like
It just doesn't
not
work.
good at it in front of people.
I have recently done a sex scene in a D&D session, and it was very clinical.
Wow.
It was, this is the position, this is the next position, how would you like this to conclude? It was very, very sterile.
I didn't leave this with you.
And it was specifically because, you know, you don't want to weird any of your friends out.
Yeah.
Like it's a very delicate process, and I don't know what I was trying to achieve with that scene. It was one player wanted to seduce an NPC, and I said, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, let's explore that. And I think we all came away from that scene laughing at how sterile it was.
People engage in romance for different reasons other than just like, this is my friend and I want to fuck this friend, but I'm not going to tell anyone at the table. Like I've played a lot of romance scenes, but never come away being like, I think that person was into me. Like, I've never felt that way. Like, not once.
Especially in the love scenes that we do.
Oh my God.
Just like being at home.
That's quite an important conversation, isn't it?
Romance
Like,
is a
I didn't
really
actually think of that,
important-
but actually that is quite important.
It is so important because you don't want to have that chat at the table of like, you're not actually into me, right? Like, you don't want to have that there. But it's really important to clock that people want to play romance scenes because it feels genuine for their character, and that romance and love is a big motivating part of character arc and character journey. Love and relationships form up our journeys through this life. We don't go through life alone. There is someone I play with regularly who really loves the romance and the flirtation and the sex scenes in there. We don't go into full pornographic detail, but there's a kiss. The camera pans out, the curtains are drawn, the rain goes down, street light move down, there's someone on the street selling papers going, huh? And then there are other times where the clinical of like, okay, like, yep, you're going to talk dirty to them, roll a persuasion check, roll a performance check. Yep, okay, you're going to do some foreplay, roll a sleight of hand check, roll an athletics check. Like, you can break it down mechanically like you would combat. Mads, did you have something that you wanted to add?
I agree. I think what I've done in the past has been like a performance roll and then fades to black. And I just think that, and often that's hilarious because like I will never forget in our most recent campaign, someone crit on their first performance check to get in bed with this person they'd been chasing for a really long time, and every roll after was with advantage, and it was hilarious. Like they just got real good real quick. That was like really funny, and I think that's really funny. And I also think like in my real life, like I'm a huge romantic at heart. So it inevitably falls into characters that I play just because like I love so much. And I think that that's a huge part of it. Yeah, you like emit, like it's so natural to put parts of yourself into the characters you play, especially because you often are with them for years. And I think it's natural that that just becomes part of it.
Are there any other things that we don't like or that don't spark joy?
I think in talking about puzzles, like if you're like bogged down in a puzzle and you're kind of stuck as a team, that's kind of like, I'm a bit like, but if it's like if it's like a mystery, that's fantastic. But like I've played a couple of campaigns with maybe less experienced DMs where they've created this great little thing, but basically you've got to solve the puzzle to get anywhere, and you're just kind of like, we don't know, like, and we're completely lost, and it's this really complex thing, and then that's it.
The pitfall that you fall into is by saying there's a specific thing you need to do to solve this puzzle.
Yes.
And if you don't get that, then we're just going to sit around this table for an hour and a half and talk about how you're failing. You got to pay creative solutions.
I'll build puzzles that have no solution, and I'll just wait for someone to say the thing that I think is the
Something's
best.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I love that approach.
Yeah. I don't have enough time or smarts to think of a puzzle that a very smart wizard would think up. I'm like, I don't have that intelligence. And so I'm going to steal from other books, or I'm just going to like set up a cool mystery and the players will solve it for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
I
That a lot.
personally love a puzzle and a riddle. I think that I think it's very fun and also very fantastical as well.
I love a puzzle and a riddle. It's just what you said about the one solution and like you're stuck, but actually like, yeah.
And it's kind of great because you'll get a mix of that in a party. Tristan, you love a puzzle and to solve a puzzle in there. But we also, in our long campaign, we had a player who I didn't realize not hated puzzles. Like he just had total disregard for the puzzle. And so he was on his own and I was like, I'm going to build this really cool dungeon and all these cool puzzles and he's going to have fun because he's like come back for the first time in a while. All these potions are laid out. Oh, and you got to drink the right potion. And he just went, I drink them all. And he just like one after another drank them all. And I was like, oh no, oh, he would be very dead. I can't do that. He's called my bluff. He won the puzzle by calling my bluff. It was such a bully approach to a puzzle.
Meanwhile, a mage is like, this is my legacy.
But then I have another player who when we were playing Cthulhu recently, I know he loves puzzles. And to the point where his character was like, I knew his character was going to be like, I'm going to sit in my house and do a crossword all day. And so I went and I found a 1940s crossword from that year and I gave it to him. And I said, you do this crossword. And at times you can do character intelligence checks and I'll give you a clue.
That's fun.
And at the end of it, he took it to the pub at the end of that night. And there was a sort of villainous character who he annoyed. And I grabbed the crossword and I ripped it in half. And
That is so good.
On his face.
Oh my God.
As the character, unhappy. And then at the end, just went, that was great. that was a good moment.
That's some player DM trust there.
Yeah.
Knowing your players.
I've been playing with him long enough to know that he doesn't really have a huge temper. He won't mind.
Yeah.
And I had a spare if he got upset. I did print too.
Just in
That's
case.
so sweet.
Yeah.
I know I can rip this.
What do we love playing out in these games? What is something that you're like, give me that. I want to be the one who tackles that.
We spoke about it a little bit earlier. I love the slice of life at camp stuff. I adore that. I think it's really fun to have those moments between the big epic things. And yeah, develop characters and develop relationships. I love that side of things.
Yeah. I love just like conversing with NPCs.
Yeah,
as well.
totally.
Like I love to like find more about the world just by like talking to like the butcher and stuff. Yeah, I love that stuff.
I love to joke in game.
Yeah.
You know, to shoot the shit, and sorry, growing on from that, I think I love the dichotomy between high stakes and low stakes social situations. I think it's really fun to be preparing for a debutante ball or to to be meeting the king or something like that, and in the same day be able to go fishing.
I love similarly like the role playing in general. Players with other players with NPCs. I love combat. I really enjoy that. There's so much I don't like, really.
Yeah, me too, I think.
I love a long con. I love something that like, you know, you might introduce in the first session and then it really pays off, like, you know, 10 sessions down the line. Like I love little nuggets that actually come into, you know, something bigger.
I love that too. And I love investigating it. I love like figuring it out. Like, yeah, classic wizard. Like I love like understanding parts of that mystery and then watching it all come together.
I also love on the role playing thing, playing your characters, like playing your weaknesses, or like so not what you'd actually do, but if your character's really not intelligent and choosing that weird choice because that's what they would do. Or I love nat ones. Fucking love nat ones.
Love
They are so fun to play. I know they seem awful sometimes, and they can be, but I love it in a role playing situation, or I don't know, it just creates great story. It's just
Failure is a part of the journey. It's a big part of the journey. Failure isn't reason to bemoan or isn't a block of the story. Failure becomes the story in that moment there. And that's really, really important. That's my like number one tip to DMs and players is like embrace the failures. Like grab it with both hands and like dive down that waterfall and see where it takes you. We're going to move on just before we build our characters tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about the tone of our world. Really good DMs to talk to your players before building characters about the expectations that you have for them to play within. That's a really big kind of improv rule, is the circle of expectations that we're all playing in. It's all well and good for everyone to like build their characters and then come to the party, but then suddenly you've got someone who's built a pirate with a robot leg, someone who is the most powerful wizard of all, and then someone who is a 1920s private investigator, but also a gnome. So those characters meshing then in a world that is maybe very low magic can suddenly throw your players, and you have to kind of shoehorn it all in. And that doesn't necessarily make for a cohesive story or a theme that you wish to explore. And so talking to your players about the world you're playing in beforehand can be really great. A pre-written campaign makes it easy in that you can say, we're playing in Faerun, we're going to be in Waterdeep, we're doing heists in Waterdeep, like classic fantasy D&D style in there. Nothing is off the books. For a homebrew world, it becomes a little bit different. And our homebrew world is also a little bit different. Now, diving into a homebrew has its pros, it has its benefits. You can set your own restrictions on the story that keep it focused in. You can keep a handle on some narrative elements, like as soon as your players start to get 9th level spells and cast Wish once a day, your narrative kind of goes out the window a little bit. And you can tell different types of stories. The cons are you have to build a lot from scratch. Your players are less familiar with the world, and so they're kind of more tentative to role play in there. It's harder to just jump in and say, I'm from this town that they might not know about. Whereas if you're playing in the Forgotten Realms, you can be like, I'm from Luskin, I'm the son of a pirate king, blah, 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 because it's lore that's there that they can look up on Google. And so you have to do quite a bit of lore writing in there. And so we've done that a bit with our homebrew world here. I have created our realm, the realm of Vheil, a land of 3 kingdoms, Ballandur, Grey Manor, and Riverrun, each with a distinct geography and an ethos in life. Now, this is a sort of medieval style kingdom in the vein of Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, kind of low magic-ish, high intrigue in the world there. So, not everybody has magic, and magic is a lot more controlled in there. This land in particular is recovering from the War of 7 Seasons, a war that took place between all 3 kingdoms 20 years ago. Our story is going to be about a newer generation post-war that is coming of age, while the lingering effects of this war continue to impact the machinations of these kingdoms and their political kind of governments and rulership. It's a story with themes of generational trauma and responsibility, community versus individualism, and nature versus science. Adventurers are rarer to come across here, and there are far fewer giant magical monsters in there. So a little bit mundane to an extent, a little bit more medieval, Renaissance. We talk about those kind of worlds there, with then a layer of magic and fantasy on top in there. You all got sent a bit of a lore dump from me, is what the document was called, with some information on some locations that I'd thought about and had ideas about. Some of them were really simple. Like one location, Merryforge, just really had that it was a merchant town that got pillaged. And so they have these really specific merchant rules in there of like no bartering. The like seller sets the price. No tricking your customer. Like you trick a customer, they're not going to come back for more service. And then no shoes in the town as a bit of a play on like no shirts, no shoes, no service, which I thought was funny. But then like Tristan, that sparked like your idea of a character as well. So you all got that. You got a bit of history from me in there. You got probably about 3 or 4 pages of lore. So you don't have to write 3 books that then go on to redefine literature, but you got to put a couple things down here. Does anybody want to like speak about anything that drew them or things that they like about playing in homebrew worlds?
I think the uniqueness of some of the ideas you can bring that haven't necessarily been explored in the D&D books. Like one from this world was that magic was quite scientific or quite mathematical. That I really enjoyed the concept of magic being something that you study, which, you know, I love wizards, but I think the idea that it's something that can be almost measured or like predicted scientifically was something that was really, really cool for this one.
Well, like you said, I read the rules of Merryforge, and it's rare in a written campaign. Usually if a place has laws to follow, you'll get a little document of, oh, here's the letter of the law, and you must obey these rules. And these felt a lot more like cultural touchstones that have very, very recently come into being. And having a character who has like a relationship with those, I thought it sparked my imagination as a player. So I think the big bonus to having a homebrew world is being able to cherry pick what themes you want to focus on, and what settings you want to focus on, or you have this lore document that is this big macro image of what the world looks like, and it's up to players to pinpoint the micro.
I also love that it's a world that I'm not going to expand everything and write novels on because I don't have that time. I work full time and I run a bunch of games, but I'm going to build enough to play in. And then as an improviser while we're playing, we're going to flesh out that world more. And I'm interested if like I kept playing in this world for 20 years, in 20 years time, how fleshed out that world is to then be like published and is maybe a trilogy then, but you discover it by playing and through collaborative storytelling. I started playing a new homebrew D&D game in the past sort of year, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger. And every kind of week I go, oh, I've had an idea to expand on this town. I'm going to go and write that down and just expand that there. That's kind of cool. You don't get that with pre-written, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, I think the collaboration element is really strong in homebrew. Like, or it can be, not always, but like from your perspective anyway, of that is definitely not everywhere. And that's a really fun sort of idea to have. Like, I don't have to have a huge amount at the beginning and we can build that together is really cool. And also takes a little bit of pressure off as a DM, a little bit. I mean, it's still very pressure filled, but you know, you can work on that together and you can get ideas from them. You don't have to have it all yourself in your brain.
I think as players as well, like it's great that everyone can start off equal. Like I've done, you know, I've come into a campaign before where like a player at that table may have already played that campaign with someone else, so they kind of know bits of that world more than someone else. Whereas if we're all coming into the same world, we're all doing, you know, joint storytelling together and starting off as equals.
So shall we build some bloody characters?
Yeah, let's
Shall we
do
roll
it.
some statistics?
Do it.
All right, let's dive in. On a dark and stormy night, You and your friends find yourselves at a loss of how to occupy your evening. The movie theatre? Too expensive. A darkened corner of your favorite drinkery? Too cramped. And then a daring thought comes to mind. Why even leave your abode when you can travel to distant lands from the comfort of your own chaise lounge? All that's required for a night to remember is good company, a handful of dice, and one of the many tabletop role-playing games published by the award-winning Chaosium. Do you dream of adventure on the high seas? Sail away with Seventh Sea? Is your imagination captured by tales of medieval legends and myth? Then take up arms with Pendragon. Or are you drawn to stories strange and macabre? Then answer the call of Cthulhu with Chaosium's adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's Tales of Terror. And for a limited time only, visit www.chaosium.com and check out with any of their products using the code TOGETHERADV10 to receive a generous discount. That's TOGETHERADV10. Whichever game you choose, you'll be sure to never have a boring evening in again. Alrighty, we've talked about context, triggers, and more. Now it's time to build our characters. For those listening at home, we will be building on D&D Beyond. You can follow along with us on your own character sheet as we go tab to tab. Afterwards, our players will either use a tablet at the table or transfer the information to a custom notebook. Marie and Ree will be using their notebooks from Sphinx Stationery, our fantastic online shop where you can buy a whole plethora of gaming accessories. But for now, names, gang. What are we going? The very first step.
I've got Tash Carver.
Where did you come up with that name?
Tash Carver is actually a name I used in a private game. He was a fighter, and his whole thing was about choking people out. I don't think I'm gonna be about choking people out in this game.
Are you building a fighter or a monk?
I am building a monk.
Oy.
So Tash Carver used to be British.
Used to be.
Tash Carver. I thought it was like, it made a good Cockney sort of pronunciation, but it's gonna be Tash Carver this time.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Who else do we have around the table?
I love a bit of alliteration. So I sort of chose my surname first because I'm going to be playing a halfling. And so I chose Pigfoot because I've decided that I'm kind of come from a pig farm. So I'm going to be Penny Pigfoot.
She sounds adorable.
I am Brava. I was going to be Brava Carver because I thought we were going to be related, but we're not related, so I currently have no last name, whether I will have one. But I kind of like the double meaning of Brava, like, bravissimo, brava, in an audience sense, and I'm a bard, so I thought that was kind of fun.
Beautiful. And Mads?
Yeah, well, I am playing quite a young character, and I thought the name Nora just sounded a bit sweet. And she's very studious. I just thought it sounded a little bit proper. And Tristan and I just kind of workshopped some last names using a name generator for her, and we came up with Baronet. So Nora Baronet.
Oh, she sounds fancy.
I know, yeah. She's really just a big old nerd.
Love it.
All right, we've got our names. Now, there's a lot of things to tick on this front page of the character preferences here, almost your settings in a way. We're going to be using some legacy rules. Homebrew and expanded rules are all good. They're not going to impact us a huge amount. You can leave them there. In terms of the partnered content, let's get rid of MCDM, Minecraft, and Rick and Morty. We can leave dice rolling enabled, though. I do love a physical dice roll.
I love it.
I do find that the dice rolling on this, though, is really handy. It's nice when you've got like a lot of dice, so you can just click it and then there you go.
It's actually useful if you're casting a giant spell that uses like 10d10 or something ridiculous and you have to count it up.
But you do love when someone is like accumulating a dice pool of 10d10 or...
I love having to widen my fingers so that I can contain more dice in my little... What's the cup that you roll in Yahtzee? What's that called?
Love it.
The yachts?
The yachts? I like making a yachts.
It's a yachts, and then when you put your two dice in, they're the E's.
Yes.
That's
That's
not
the
at all
rule.
true.
Okay, all right.
I was like, is that canon?
I was convinced. I was like, no, I was not, but I enjoyed it.
You can't fool them all. We're going to do milestone advancement. Now, milestone advancement I really love because you can tie level advancement into your story. It gets rid of any ideas of kind of grinding your way up. Now, some campaigns, you may want to be grinding your way up. You may want to be hunting big monsters and doing it that way, and that's totally fine, but we're a very narrative and roleplay based table here. So we're going to do milestone advancement. So these guys are going to level up during our big bite of D&D. Let's get rid of encumbrance because I hate tracking encumbrance.
No encumbrance.
All right, we're going to leave ignore coin weight, going to leave modifiers on top, campaign only, all of that. These are all really optional things in there, and we're going to hit next. We'll come back to portraits later. Our first main step of building a character, choosing a class. What do we got around the table? What are our thoughts at the moment? Let's start to my left.
I'm thinking of going ranger.
Beautiful, beautiful, simple.
Bard.
A bard.
Mark. Nora's a wizard.
We've got a party. We've
Yeah,
got a full party there.
Party.
And you're going to pick level 3. So you can add your class, and then immediately, as soon as we've added our class there, I'm going to jump on up. It's going to say level, and you're just going to move that to level 3. So what are some options that people have to pick from on theirs? I'm kind of building a fighter here alongside you guys. So there's some like fighting traits, fighting styles, weapon masteries. What is everybody else kind of looking at here?
I get access to all the information about my martial arts fighting style, where I can use unarmed strikes as bonus actions. I get unarmed defense. I get a little bit of a movement increase. And I can deflect attacks at 3rd level. That's my favorite monk trait. Is the kung fu movie slow deflect the arrow catch throwback. It's so flavorful.
That's my least favorite monk feature. That
I thought it would have been stunning strike.
as a dungeon master, I hate that any projectile I shoot at a monk can not only be stopped but used as a weapon immediately.
So cool.
It is very cool.
One day I want to deflect like a cannonball or like a huge projectile. But that's pipe dreams.
Is that a wish that you want your DM to hear?
I do not want a cannonball to be shot at my character, Scott. No.
Large projectile coming your way.
Boulder.
Beautiful. We've also got the ability at 3rd level to start to pick your subclass. So your little specialization. What are people picking? We've got our main classes. What are people's subclasses?
I'm picking a new one, Scott, in the new D&D rules. So Bard subclass College of Dance.
The College
Just
of
a
Dance.
new
That's
one
very
of
nice.
dance.
The little shimmy.
It's perfect for a
If you could make up your own bard class as people, 3 of us went to drama school here. What is the made up bard class? Mine would be the College of Mime.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
And I like the idea of like you mime a glass wall and it's an actual, like it like works like shield does. It boosts your AC for an incoming
thought
attack.
about this. It's really
I've
good.
thought about it a lot.
That's really good.
Maybe I'm homebrewing it. Who knows?
Maybe
I love
am. Mine might be clowning. It's
yeah.
kind of in there. I feel like it's a little bit drunken monkey.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit drunken monkey.
Does every clown remind you of an alcoholic? Like the one at your like 6th birthday party?
Maybe it's just that I played a drunken monk and went down a bit clowning. But I just love, I don't know, I love the idea of that kind of clown feel. But I have not thought about it a lot. That was just off the top of my head.
I like the idea of a specialist downer bard, like an emo poet or like a dirge, you know. who
In
would-
Pathfinder, there's a dirge bard, like a funeral bard. Yeah, it's really, really, really cool, actually.
Wow. So
You
like,
sing funeral songs and you follow. You're like fascinated by death.
is it all about like debuffing
Yeah.
your opponent? Oh my goodness.
Painters, other art forms as well coming into it. I love like a painter bard.
How much painting can you do in a round though? In 6 seconds in the midst of combat.
Jackson Pollock can make an entire painting in 6
You've
seconds.
just blown my mind, Scott. That's so good.
I kind of like the idea of like an influencer bard of like obviously without the like technology, like in like a medieval kind of setting of like, yeah, come like, oh, you like these pants that I'm wearing? Yeah, I just got them from this like local maker, like this local seamstress. Like, yeah.
Great. So we've got our College of Dance bard, which I love.
Give that a try.
New rules for me to learn into
Me
that.
too. I'm just going to go with a hunter for my ranger subclass.
Tried and true.
Yeah, absolutely. She's going to have a short bow because obviously Penny is quite little, so I'm not going to do a long bow. I'm going to, make it suit my physique,
Yeah, I love that. I love the role playing, even though the longbow is a stronger weapon, role playing what she would actually use. I also love the hunter. The hunter is a classic ranger. There's a great thing now that it does as well, having looked at that subclass, where with rangers you can do like the giant slayer or the horde breaker or whatever that was back in 5e. But now you can shift your speciality every long rest, which is kind of great if you're
That
like, we're going
helps
into a
that
goblin
class.
horde. Or we're hunting a
That's
giant.
really great.
That's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
That's so versatile.
I wonder what the role play equivalent of that is, of like changing your. I guess it's like changing your weapons and your bows, reading
a
manuals.
loadout selection.
What other subclass we got going? What about this side of the table?
I also am going straight down the middle of the road, Warrior of the Open Hand.
We love it.
Beautiful. Nora is a bit obsessed with history and has kind of seen the patterns repeat themselves a bit and is going to be a diviner. And look at those patterns repeating themselves again and again and again and again.
Has my favorite feature of any subclass in the entire game.
The portent dice.
The portent dice.
Oh, good.
Yep, it's just brilliant to be able to roll 2 d20 at the start of each session and then sub them out. Though I did a little research on this because this is quite famously used in Dimension 20 by Siobhan's character, Adine Abernat.
Yeah.
And often what will happen in that game is that it'll roll, Brennan will announce what was rolled, and she'll go, nope, that's a 2 now. You have to declare before you know, as per the rulings, I believe.
That you're going to use
actually.
it.
So they've obviously changed it a bit to be a bit more theatrical, and they're doing an actual play that is about that. But yeah, you kind of have to take the risk
Yeah.
rather than knowing the outcome. So
I don't
Yeah.
know this rule, Scott. Can you explain it to
yeah,
me?
so portent die, essentially at the start of each day or after each long rest, Mads will be able to roll 2 d20. Do you just want to roll 2 for me now?
Yeah, great.
We'll do a
Love
test
this.
right now.
Love this. We got a 10 and a 14.
A 10 and a 14. She'd write those down and knows in her back pocket that at any point in the game, she can say that a character gets a 10 or a 14 and swaps out their dice.
That's so cool.
Now, obviously, you can sit around waiting for the DM to roll a nat 20. Or you
Oh,
can sit
yeah.
around waiting for a nat 1 to happen in there. But as per the rule, you have to declare before you know the result of the dice,
Oh,
I
I
believe.
see.
And so if it's something that's really important that you succeed at, you might just want to, if you rolled, you might just want to put that 14 in.
Totally.
Yeah, you just go, we need to get this. We can't risk a nat 1. Or for the DM, you might go, I'm going to give you a 10 on this because you're about to land what could be a fatal blow. Could be great for death saving throws. A 14 on your death saving throw so that we don't risk that there. So it's a great feature. I do really enjoy it.
Would you pay if the diviner was making the death saving throws? That's when the portent roll. Like, does the diviner have to be conscious to use that ability?
I would say so. It's the use of magic in there. I would say that they can't use it on themselves or on anyone else if they're unconscious, because you can't take actions and bonus actions to do that. I do wonder, it probably is a reaction.
I think it is a reaction. But yeah, and you could argue that like spellcasting for a wizard is intelligence. And if you're knocked out, where's that? You don't have any. Yeah, accessing that might be a bit hard.
We'll see if it comes to that in our big bite as we go along. So we've got our subclasses there. What are other things people are selecting in here? Is there anything interesting that people want to talk about?
Yeah, I can specialize just at second level wizardry. You get a scholar feature now where you can specialize in another field of study. So I've chosen history for Nora, but that's a nice little bonus to a skill.
Great.
I can select a tool proficiency, a musical instrument or artisan's tools. And now I am spiraling because there's such a long list. So this would be like would this be a hobby?
It definitely could be a hobby. It could also be a trade that he had before the war or was training in. We know that he grew up in Maryforge, a very small town, a very friendly town, but is a town of artisans in a lot of ways, blacksmiths, carvers. Funnily enough, your last name.
Carpentry. Boom. Scott, thank you for answering my question.
Boom.
All right.
It's like last names came from occupations. So we're going to hit next, everybody. Moving into Origins. Now, for those at home, Origins is the new way that we speak about your character's species, so what you were born as, and then your upbringing. It is a term used to combine what was formerly race and is now species, and background, which is your upbringing. So we do them both at once in Origin there. So we start with your background. We start with your upbringing. We all kind of know what we're going to be playing in terms of species, but backgrounds, what are people picking in their backgrounds here?
I'm picking guide. Just because I think from the chats that we've had, I seem to be the oldest and so the most sort of experienced out in the field. So guide sort of is flavored to be like an outlander or a wayfarer out on the fringes of society. It's very druidic, specifically because you get a feat with backgrounds. And the feat is Magic Initiate, because we were sort of talking about my character as being more in touch with the old religion or the old ways, the lost paths. I think it's thematic that he has some spells that are sort of more traditionally to do with medicine or nature or intuition, rather than being able to shoot a fireball. I can make some berries, or I know where to forage for berries. So I am picking for my spells. I'm picking guidance, message, and good berry.
Oh, I love
good berry.
berry.
We love a good berry.
We love a good
We
berry.
love a good berry.
We love a guidance.
We love a guidance.
We do love
a
a
guidance.
Now, here's a question I have about guidance, because I DM for my own players at home, and I have a player who has guidance who will just roll a d4 whenever he rolls a d20 if it's to do with skill check.
Yeah, I think we cross that bridge when we come to it. It's a cantrip, so you can use it at will in a way there, but there has to be the notion that casting spells, especially if they require components, whether that's material or somatic, verbal, stuff like that, are you in a position where casting that spell is allowed? Will people freak out around you? Is it taboo to cast a spell in the situation you're in which case you still can, but there will be consequences. Other origins that we're going with backgrounds here.
Yeah, for Penny, I'm going with farmer for obvious reasons. I think, she's grown up on this pig farm her whole life. I mean, she's like 23, but I think whether she likes it or not, she is quite a good farmer. I think she would prefer to be out there like hunting and stuff, but I think, it comes naturally to her. So I've chosen farmer.
Yeah, I love that farmer has been made a background because I think so many adventurers in these kind of medieval and Renaissance worlds are farmers, have that rustic background in there. I really love the changes they've made to backgrounds.
Backgrounds used to just be waved away as an excuse to grab some skill proficiencies and how you're going to get that. I really, really enjoy how they've been integrated more into defining your character before you even started playing with.
Because we are the circumstances that we grow up in as much as we are what we're born as much as the color of our skin, the color of our hair, the color of our eyes. We are sometimes in more ways a result of what our life has been so far and the experiences we experience. So that I think it's been made meaningful and will allow role play even more and facilitate role play even more, which is these are tabletop role playing games. Marie, where are we going with you?
We're going charlatan. We've talked about my family. Basically, my family is this full of guards. That's like my family business is the guard, but I'm kind of not wanting to go down the family business track. So I think there's an element of my character having, whenever they can get away from doing their duty, they've run off and
I've taken that opportunity.
yeah, literally, and probably quite good at lying and running away and that sort of thing. So I thought, I was thinking about entertainer and that kind of obvious thing, but I don't know, charlatan seemed to work better with what we.
I think it's a good mix of the two. I think if you picked entertainer, it's a smart mechanical choice. If you pick guard, it's the good roleplay choice. It may clash with your character, but it is what you were raised. But I think Charlatan is a nice mix of, I wanted to grow up as an entertainer, but I had to sneak out of the house a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's it.
And Mads.
So Nora, above all else, is a student, and her parents own a bookshop. So I've picked the background of Scribe, which actually talks a little bit about spending your formative years dedicated to the preservation of knowledge or books and things. So it really matches up so nicely. And from that, you get access to calligrapher's supplies, and investigation. And I also have the feat skilled, so I get 3 extra little fun things from that as well, which is quite nice. Yeah, I feel like that just fits in really well.
What feat does the farmer get?
Yeah.
I meant the background, not
loses 3 skills.
Yeah.
Unskilled.
I get tough.
Oh, tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I also get, like, with ability scores, it says it allows me to choose between strength, constitution, and wisdom, increase one of the scores by 2 and another by 1, or increase all by 1, like all 3. So I've chosen to do constitution with 2 and strength with 1, and then I'm not adding wisdom because I don't see her as being a very wise character just yet.
Wise can impact, there's a lot of like animal handling and perception, so wisdom can come into like how you navigate the natural world. But I'm also happy for you to change this once you've rolled your characteristics to actually like go back and change that a little bit if you want.
Yeah.
The tough feature, can you just elaborate on that one for our listeners at home?
So if you get the tough feature, your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to twice your character level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a character level thereafter, your hit point maximum increases by an additional 2 hit points.
Beautiful. There are other sections in this area now of character details. So alignment is one of these. Now, I don't play with alignment. Alignment is great if you are a new player who wants a little bit of guidance on what choices they should be making and the angle they should be taking with their character. I think for those of us who are a bit more seasoned at playing, you start to operate in the moral areas or know that people aren't constricted to just one way of thinking, but it can more often than not, I think, result in some stubbornness and in some lack of going with the flow and lack of teamwork. I think the stories of the chaotic neutral character who does whatever they want, steals from the party, runs off, is just a little bit of a bad trope because it's very true. You've then got faith in there. So we're playing with 2 theologies in our homebrew world here. The singular fatum, which is the destiny of one, and the old ways, also known as the lost palms, which is a community and nature-based religion, almost akin to paganism in our world. So if you guys want to be following a certain one, you're welcome to write that down there. A lifestyle, you can add that in if you want as well. But we're adventurers. That's going to shift and change a lot. 2, your physical characteristics, your personal characteristics, you can note all those down. Well, physical characteristics, we can go around and describe our characters when we start the game. So before you do that, it's good to actually go through this as players and just jot those down so you know what you're describing. Most games will start with, please describe your character. And so this is a good place to do that. Personal characteristics can be really helpful if there are certain parts of your character you haven't fleshed out. The 4 that it breaks it down into is personality traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws. Flaws, I recommend always having flaws in a character. It just gives you more depth. It just gives you a bit more to play with. And we're moving on to our species now. Okay, what is everyone picking here?
Human. I'm human.
Yeah,
Love me humans. Love role playing nothing.
You're going to be a squishy human.
No, really, what I'm picking human for is versatility, because I also wanted tough. So you get, because I'm a bit older. I fought in a war. I should be tough.
I love that all other species get so many features, and so they've had to balance human by being like, at the end of every long rest, you can have heroic inspiration for being a human, for living a human life.
What?
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that.
Just free inspiration.
After every long rest.
Every night. You just wake up feeling so good about yourself.
Once more, can I have this in real life as well?
I mean, I've already said, but I'm going with halfling. Woo!
Beautiful.
I am a half orc.
Are you going half orc or
Well,
orc?
no, I'm going orc, but I wasn't sure if that was okay in the world.
Yeah, you can go orc. It's
Right.
there. It's an option there. Yeah. I'm happy for you to go orc.
But I'm going orc, full orc.
Full orc.
Full
She's going
orc.
full orc.
You're going 2 halves.
Full orc. Full orc. 2 halves orc.
Hey, 2 halves don't make an orc.
3 halves. Anyway.
Great. And Mads, what are you going at?
I am a half elf. Both my parents are half elves. Her parents were probably also half elves. Long line of half elves.
Ah, she's 1/8 elf.
Yeah, it's a bit like that. I do like to think, I know we'll talk about what we look like later, but I like to think her ears are just that tiny bit pointed. Not like just that little bit. And it's like, is she singing mom? Yeah.
Is she hand gesture?
Beautiful. Let's keep it rolling, gang. And by rolling, I mean it's ability score time.
Oh my goodness.
It's ability score time.
For those of us at home, there are 3 ways to generate your primary characteristics in this game. There is random generation, which is what we will be using. You will be rolling 4d6 and subtracting the lowest. Random generation means that you can be really, really good or really, really bad at everything. Hopefully, it's a spread. Standard array gives a standard array of good and bad and middle ground. So that's the safe one. If you don't want your game to be unbalanced or a character to be really poor at something or really great at something, use standard array. And then point cost is a version of standard array where you spend your points getting different variations in there. But we love rolling dice here. And I love that this can randomly impact your statistics. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll these several times. We're going to do 6 or I'm going to spring this on you.
Oh my
buddy.
God.
I have a variation. And the variation involves all of you using the same numbers randomly generated. So you're all playing within the same pool of dice. This means if you're all bad, you're all bad. And if you're all good, you're all good. Hopefully there's a spread there. But this is something that's a little bit more risky. Are we interested in this, or do you all want to roll your own individual ones?
Together adventure.
It is together adventure. You know, you got me there.
So, we are going to roll dice, sort of one person at a time.
I apologize in advance.
Oh my goodness, this is so much more pressure.
Who wants to be in charge of rolling twice? Because there are 6 characteristics. Marie's immediately put her hand up.
You just apologized.
I'm going to roll with you as well here. We're going to start with Marie because you've got to roll twice. So you're going to roll 4d6 for us now and take away the lowest. So let's roll them and let's see what we get.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh, it's
okay.
good.
Oh, that's
What have we
fantastic.
got?
Okay, we've got 6, 5, 4, 4.
Get rid of one of those 4s, and that is a 15. Note it down, players. Note down 15.
Just anywhere.
Hey.
Marie, do another one. Just like that.
All right, Tristan, you're up.
Oh, I'll take mine out of the way.
Okay, so this isn't so good.
Yay!
It's not terrible. So I rolled 2 2s, a 1 and a 5. So that's 9.
That's it's pretty bad.
Well, it's not. Yeah.
It's bad.
Mads.
Okay, here we go. 8.
Oh.
Okay. Together.
Together adventure.
I've got to gather all my D6.
Why am I singing so much today?
That's going to be the jingle. Together adventure.
Can we get that clean? That's so good. That's so good.
Let's do a clean take, please. Quiet in the room. All right, speed. Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
I rolled a 6, a 6, a 4, and a 3. So we're playing with 16.
Whoa, baby!
I threw my pen. I was so
The
excited.
goods are goods. The bads are not too bad.
They're average. They're
We're
okay.
hoping for maybe some middle ground.
No more
here.
highs.
Yeah.
I want a real low. No, it's pretty good. It's a 5, a 5, and a 4, so 14.
What did you subtract?
I took away the 3.
Oh, we can use these stats, guys.
We can use these.
And we're back to Marie, and
Now
I'm
back-
hoping for low.
I kind of love a real low score for role playing. All right, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what are they? You got to read them to me.
It's not too bad. 6, 2, 1, 1.
Whoa!
So another
a
9. Another 9.
All right.
Those scores again are 15, 9, 8, 16, 14, 9.
Wow.
So are we just choosing where to put all of those? We individually choose.
You now pick where you
Okay.
want to allocate those, which characteristics you want to allocate those to. The focus in the room is a laser, everyone.
Oh my god. See, wisdom's probably a good one for me to take high then, right? If you said that's going to be more to do with like in tune with nature and stuff.
Yeah, you can look at the skills tied to it there in your notebook if you want to see those skills that are tied to your wisdom.
Oh, yeah, I get you. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sphinx Stationery.
She really is saving us. Thanks, Alyssa. So for those of you at home, I'm just gonna chime in with what these numbers mean. So wherever they put a 16, they're gonna get a +3 to the skills attributed to that characteristic. So for example, if you put your 16 in strength, you're gonna get a +3 to athletics. Wherever they put the 9 will be a -1. Wherever they put the 15, a +2. Wherever they put the 8, a -1. Okay, so we're playing with +2s, -1s, and a +3 as well. They can then boost these up with some of their selections back in their kind of backgrounds and species. They can boost those characteristics up and even use, as they advance in their levels, even use certain features to get higher numbers there, which will help them with their skills.
Oh, it's a tricky
It
one.
is, isn't it? I think I've settled on mine. Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah, let's spill the beans. What have we got?
And you can tell me if this is bad.
There's no bad choices, only things that will result in the inevitable death of your character. And every step you took to get there. And this is your first step in
And
that
this is-
direction.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
So I put my 16 in dexterity.
Mm-hmm.
I put 15 in wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
14 in strength,
Mm-hmm.
and then 9 in constitution, intelligence, and charisma.
I have put my neggies
neggies.
in strength, intelligence, and charisma.
Whew.
I put my 16 in dexterity, my 14 in constitution, and my 15 in wisdom.
This is hard because I'm not.
Very hard.
I'm like a smart little 15-year-old, and do I just dump strength and dex so she just falls over all the time and can't hit anything? And she's just a spellcaster. That seems like the right call.
I mean, that
but
seems
it
like a
feels it feels so risky mechanically. But I think that's probably the right call, is to do 16 into intelligence, and I get that +2, so I start with an 18 in intelligence, which is pretty sweet.
And that,
And then wisdom and con being the other.
all of your mental
Yeah,
statistics
which is
are
her whole
high.
thing.
Yeah.
Like it really, that makes sense for her, as scary as that is.
So much of me wants to take the 16 away because I
No.
rolled the 16.
No,
Yeah.
it was
I
a
rolled
gift.
the highest one.
It was a gift.
DMs, you can give gifts to your players. Don't expect any in return.
I'm so afraid of getting negatives in so many things, but this is exciting.
Then we role play it. Then it's like
I love
we've got to
it.
figure out why.
Yeah.
We've got to
Yeah,
play
yeah,
to
yeah.
it. Yeah, it's great.
I hate having negative in charisma. I love
Same.
role playing negative to charisma.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It also makes sense for like little nerd to not be charismatic.
Are we all just going to
And
be not very charismatic?
It's interesting as well.
Oh, you are. Great. You got us.
Exactly. Having a negative to charisma is interesting for that little secret as well.
I'm sorry. What was that?
So there's
Maz?
a little secret.
A little
There's a little secret.
in this corner of the table.
Have we all allocated our mods, Marie? Where have you put them?
I was just trying to choose whether to go higher in charisma or dex, because for a dance bard, you've got this cool little attack thing you can do every round. But I think I will go high in charisma, especially after that chat.
Knowing that we're all.
No worries. And then also thinking about whether I take the +1, because similarly to you with the background, what's it called? Origin. I could go +1 in con, dex, and charisma, which could bring my con up to at least a 0.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I want to know if we all have negatives in strength.
No, I actually went relatively high with strength.
Yeah, you did. I believe you put your
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, all
and
right,
I
so-
get a +2 as well, so I'm 16.
So we're all very well spread out
Yeah.
for the niches to be filled by other party members.
But there are 3 players that I will constantly use the grapple action on.
Can't you use
Gotcha.
acrobatics to contest a grapple action if you're being...
Not in my world, baby.
Oh, no.
I don't know. I'll need to recheck that rule when the DM's guide comes out. Oh, I have rules in front of me, actually. By succeeding on a strength or dexterity check.
It's because I try to grapple my players too much.
You shouldn't touch your players.
We all know. We all know what...
We're going to move to the part of the session 0 where we talk about rules and consent around the table. Great. All right. I do just want to grab, just so that we can clock this. I don't think we have the actual characteristics you put your stats in, so just read them out for us here.
So 8 for strength, dexterity 15, 9 in constitution, 9 in intelligence, 14 wisdom, 16 charisma.
Yeah, I went 8 strength, 9 dex, 14 constitution, 16 intelligence, 15 in wisdom, and 9 in charisma.
Great. So I'm happy for everyone to take the starting equipment that they want to take or take gold. That's up to you. We can have that chat through there. I think starting equipment can be really, really useful unless you're a DM who loves to take your players shopping, and there's nothing wrong with going shopping at all. We will also all be given a magic item to start with. You can pick a magic item. We're going to save that for our very first session just because we don't have the new Dungeon Master's Guide where all those will be in there. And apparently they've added a bunch of extra ones. So I want you to be able to pick the one that you think is best for you when that comes out. So we'll let the listeners at home know what we've got there.
I got so many daggers, you guys.
Yeah, does anyone want to buy? I've got a longbow. Anyone
I
want
got
to buy
7
it?
daggers.
Oh, yeah?
I wonder. So I've obviously got as Marie said, we get like 2 sets. So I've got my ranger starting equipment, which is quite a lot. And then farmer starting equipment. I don't know if I need like a sickle, an iron pot. I mean, iron pot actually could come in handy.
But these are just things that would be in your house, things that you have at home. You don't need to use them necessarily,
Yeah,
but
great,
they're
okay.
just there
I'll
extra.
keep them.
Don't turn down items
No,
when
no.
a cumbrance is turned off.
I was thinking if it's better just to take the 50 gold pieces. However,
Oh.
I've just seen that with the so with the sickle and everything, I also get 30 gold pieces. So I'm actually just going to stick with that.
Yeah.
Would you allow me to use a longbow, even though I am not proficient in a longbow, Scott?
Yeah, she's going to swap it out for a
I have
short
to
bow,
s-
though.
Yeah, there's no short bow.
No, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. I also have a short bow.
You want to do a trade?
I believe it's short for short?
Do you want to do? I'll
Well,
trade you
short
my
for long.
longbow
Oh,
for your short bow.
would you allow this DM?
Yeah.
Lock it in.
Deal.
Lock it in, Eddie.
Shake it, shake it.
You also don't have to be proficient to use a weapon.
Oh, that's
You
true.
just don't add your proficiency to it.
True this.
But you then can't get like mastery, which is a new thing in D&D 1 when it comes to your weapons as well, which are bonus abilities that you can do when you hit with your attacks. Alrighty, we have selected our equipment. We have everything good to go. You can pick a portrait for your character if you want, players. You can save that for a bit later, but otherwise, you can view your character sheet, you can export to PDF, have a little play around. For the spellcasters in the room, once you are in your character sheet, you can start to pick your spells here. Now, my little wizard friend,
Yes.
My little wizard friend.
you're level 3.
Yes.
Are all 3 levels in wizard?
No.
Okay, so we have a multi-class at the table.
Is this a secret? Is this a little secret?
When you're at that original class selection, Mads here wandered all the way down to the bottom where it said add another class and added a level in something else. So hasn't actually had the opportunity to pick that divination school, but we know that you will once you get to one more
right.
level of wizard.
Yes.
So everyone else has a subclass, but you don't because you only have 2 levels of wizard and 1 level of something else.
Something else.
Something that's a little narrative secret that we talked about that you know, but your character doesn't know.
No, that's right. Nora doesn't know. She thinks she's a wizard.
Tristan just shot me a look of intense horror.
Nora doesn't know?
Nora doesn't know.
That's her catchphrase and theme song. Nora doesn't know. I think we got it clean.
Giving teen movie.
I was wondering how flavorful we're twisting this for me, because I'm not an official. I don't have levels in a spellcasting class. I just took a little feat to give me some spells. Am I casting these, or is this like a subtle manifestation of the old ways values being entrenched in who I am?
Yeah, I love that.
So maybe when I'm guiding someone, I'm giving them some reassuring sort of life lessons. Message is just sort of, hey.
I love that it's coming from your background rather than your class in a way as a guide. I like that it kind of manifests from that rather than as a monk.
And I think I'll pick Goodberry, and that'll just be like, Scroggin.
Oh yeah,
Your uncle with a little bag of candy.
hiking snacks.
Yeah. Trail mix.
Trail mix. Our half elf over here. Do you have some spells that you want to share? If there are any that are a bit of a dead giveaway, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah, that's fair. Look, I think the main one that she's taken really mage hand, so she can read more books and pull more things off high shelves, and firebolt to light candles across the room to read in the middle of the night.
Great.
It's all very utility for Nora.
Beautiful. Our bard across the table.
So role playing wise, I thought invisibility. If she's kind of sneaking out a bit,
Yeah.
a lot in her life. We don't really have a healer, so I'm kind of also thinking about that strategically a little
cure
bit.
wounds.
So I might go healing word. I love the
Bit of
range on that.
distance.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna try that. And then also, what was I thinking? There's this. I like the spell aid. It's kind of cool, and especially then I was like, that would kind of make sense that I had that for myself because I'm quite squishy with this -1 constitution.
Such a good spell too.
Yeah, so I quite like that one. And in cantrips, I'm thinking maybe mage hand. Also thinking of that as a kind of role playing.
I play with a bard who calls their mage hand stage hand.
Stage hand. That's so good.
That is
That's
genius.
fantastic.
It's a
well
brilliant
done.
choice that
bard.
has to be attributed to Mr. Tim Watts.
Tim!
It's a beautiful choice.
Of course he fucking did that.
Good. And our ranger spells, what have you got, Ree?
So I only have 4 first level spells. I don't have any cantrips or anything. So I've gone with Cure Wounds, which is always handy. I've gone with a Detect Poison and Disease. Hunter's Mark I got automatically. So that's an added one. I chose Snare, which I've never actually used before, but that could be a really great one for a hunter. And of course, Speak with Animals.
Beautiful. I think that pretty much encompasses everyone's spells. So we have our 4 fully formed characters. So let's talk a little bit of lore and where your characters are from. Our players got a bit of a lore dump from me, it's called. Those of you who are listening, you can find a lore document on our website that gives you the rundown of our world and some of the key players, key organizations, and key philosophies that underpin the world. Did anybody start with an idea of, I want to play this type of character? Or did, on the flip side, anybody start with, oh, I'm drawn to this part of the lore and want to build a character out of there?
Yeah, I think we'd spoken and joked about wizard apprentices a couple of times, and I just loved the idea of having an apprentice wizard. So that kind of was in my mind already. But then in the lore document, and you spoke a little bit about this as well, about magic and wizardry being a little bit more scientific, a little bit more logical. And I really loved the idea of a diviner who divined fate or figured out what was going to happen next based on what had happened in the past. So like a historian who noticed those patterns repeating themselves and then kind of saw what was going to happen next logically a little bit more than magically. And obviously there's still magic at play, but I just thought that was a really interesting way to use divination.
Magic is really interesting in this world in that wizards are trained at the Presidium. I love the idea of a mage hold. I've always loved those classic fantasy books where mages are trained separately and in these kind of academies. I find that kind of thrilling in a way, in a very similar to The Witcher kind of way.
I approached Tash. There's a large section in the lore dump about a war that has just ravaged the kingdom. which is, of course, the War of Seven Seasons. And I thought of making a character who took part in that war and had a connection to one of the locations that featured in that war called Maryforge. It was a small town built around a great forge. And you featured this little dot point. People here live by extreme rules due to the sacking it experienced during the War of Seven Seasons. The rules are no stealing, thieves will be hung by their hands, no bartering, the seller sets the worth, no soliciting, a buyer tricked is a buyer who won't return, and no shoes. We will only serve the shoeless. And that last one, the entire reason I'm playing a monk is because of no shoes.
No shoes, shirts are optional.
I just loved an idea of a town full of people walking around without shoes. And so, yeah, Tash is a war veteran who rose to help defend his town of Maryforge during the war and sort of joined this roving band of heroes. So I, in a way, have already had a little bit of a campaign in my backstory. And yeah, that's where all of Tash comes from, is just this old gruff war guy.
And we've talked about how you were maybe like a level 12 during the war, but now 20 years has passed. You've not seen combat. You've gotten older. And so you've gone down levels. Yeah, you got soft. You got old. And I like that idea of, why is this older character a level 3 if all these kids are level 3? And you kind of go, well, you ebb and flow in life in a way like that. And that's a role play and mechanical choice intertwined.
I also think an adventure is a really good midlife crisis.
Yes. Yeah. Change your routine.
Oh well, I might not have a choice in how my routine changes, but I love this idea of like I've fallen out of sort of fighting form, but I still got the gumption in me.
Maryforge is a really interesting one in that I've been watching a lot of House of the Dragon and was remembering the Dance of Dragons and Fire and Blood, the book that George R.R. Martin released. And there is a really significant event that is yet to come in the TV series that people who are listening, who know that book, will know about the sack of a town that is a very peaceful town and a very kind town that then had a very unpleasant time. And that thought really stuck with me, of the unfairness of that, of these kind of beautiful towns and lovely towns that become victim to these kind of wars and how that changes you. And now Maryforge is a place that has a staunch security presence, and Marie's family is indicative of that in this campaign. It's also a border town, which explains why it was sacked. It sits on the border of, when war breaks out, those border towns are the first to suffer in there. And they still are in modern warfare as well. So yeah, it is a little bit of quite serious real-world military history creeping in there. That's what George R.R. Martin writes, right? Real-world military history.
Grounded stuff.
All right, we're going to move on to Marie.
Well, I believe straight away Tristan and I both went jester, because apparently Tristan and I have the same thoughts. Because once reading the law doc, I also was very attached to the no shoes, and also wrote that I definitely don't wear shoes.
Who's got the time?
Who's got the time? We also played a bit with having some kind of link between Kristen's character and them.
Yeah, and what I love is how appropriate dance bard is for someone who knows a monk.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of reading on the dance bard, and I love that you get an unarmed fighting, to do with your bardic inspiration die.
Yeah.
I think it's a really, really fun way of incorporating dance, an art form that hasn't really been represented in D&D.
Yeah, and I think actually going through with Scott and working on the character and deciding what we're doing and then talking about what you were doing helped me choose that subclass, because I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like if she's been learning from you a bit. And
there was, in a way, you wanted to play a very certain class when you said jester. I remember we finished sort of a little bit of a practice campaign, and I kind of said, what are people thinking, without giving too much detail of this world? And yeah, you went to jester, you went to bard, really, in a lot of ways.
So I wasn't, I think jester came first, and then I was like, oh, does that mean bard?
Why does playing a bard scare you as someone who is music theatre trained?
I don't know.
Pressure.
This is your job.
I know.
You know that, right?
Is that why though? Like it's too close to real life. It's like a bit.
I don't know. I think I love it. I think it's what I always think in anything improvised or anything in performance as well. I always have this double whammy of this is awesome and this is fun and that's funny, and then also, oh my God.
Great. Let's move on to Ray.
I also thought about my character just on the little spiel that you gave us before the big lore dump about it was going to be in a kingdom. So I sort of thought, okay, well, where am I going to fit in? And I thought that a cook would be a very fun place, like a busy kitchen kind of thing, perhaps not very experienced. I kind of thought about what was going to bring someone into the kitchen and thought like maybe a hunter and a ranger. Honestly, I don't know where the pig farm came from. One way that I like to create characters is just through voice. So I had sort of had to think about what kind of voice I want to do. And then from there, when I get a moment to myself and no one is around, I'll just start talking in that voice and find the character through there. And as soon as something makes me laugh, this is why I do it by myself and when no one's around. So I'm just talking in funny voices, laughing at myself. That's when I know I've got a character that I actually want to understand a bit more. And then I got in trouble because I hadn't actually read the lore dump and we were pretty close. Sorry about that, Scott. But then when I did read the lore dump, then I discovered a lot more about the character and she sort of became a bit more real. So, yeah.
Apology accepted. I'm now going to give you guys a little present.
Oh, it's a real physical. He's
A real
leaned
physical
down.
present.
He's leaned
Something's
down.
happening, everyone at home.
Oh, it's a map. It looks like a map. I see burned edges. I see burned edges.
So excited.
What?
Oh.
No.
Oh, it's a full-on map.
Oh, it's stunning.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's so pretty, Scott.
Wow, wow, wow.
So you can view this one online on our website as well. And let me tell you, I am very bad at drawing, but the modern age gives you tools. And so with the help of Procreate and some purchased landscape brushes, I could make a map that took me many hours and 2 holidays to finish here. And so we have our realm of Vheil, our 3 kingdoms, the southern land of Ballandur, the northern kingdom of Grey Manor, formerly known as Moraine, and the eastern rivers and swamps and beaches of Riverrun.
There's the wall around the swamp.
Now, this realm of Vheil, I'm going to give our listeners a little bit of a backstory here, and then you guys can talk about your backstories a little bit. It is a lush and vibrant land filled with swamps, fields, mountain ranges, sandy beaches, and originally the first people that came into being were species like the elves, the dwarves, the orcs, and the gnomes. And now in modern times, those races are gone. They are now kind of replaced by humans, half-elves, half-orcs, halflings, all kind of interbred, filtered down, kind of mixed species there, replacing those sort of more full-blooded ones. For centuries, Vheil existed as one nation with many tribes and villages, never united. Small battles broke out over time there, but none ever drew great bloodshed, and most were resolved quickly. And everyone followed the old ways, this sort of reverent, paganistic approach to nature and a worship of nature, mostly through rituals and traditions, things like harvest time, the burn-off season as well. However, those villages and tribes soon evolved into 3 kingdoms. Grey Manor, the folk of the woods, Riverrun, the folk of the sea, and Ballandur, the folk of the mountains. As population grew and borders were formally drawn, over the past 500 years, when these kingdoms have grown and animosity has also grown. There have been border wars, battles, lots of different events that took place, but the biggest impact of all was 20 years ago when the War of 7 Seasons began. All that anybody knows about the beginning of this war was that it revolved around the death of Prince Llewellyn of Ballandur. The different kingdoms have different opinions on what happened there. But what is agreed upon was that at the Twixt, a central large lake where all the borders convene and all of the kingdoms have watchtowers and guard posts, a caravan that was traveling from Ballandur to Riverrun was inspected by Grey Men of Guards and a fight broke out. The people of the caravan were massacred, the bodies publicly displayed. Something was amiss in this caravan and unfortunately stowed away. Running off to adventure was the youngest royal child of Ballandur, Prince Llewellyn. And this started this great war of 7 seasons where all 3 kingdoms were pulled into conflict here. There were betrayals, alliances, sacks, sieges, ambushes, and all of this spanned 7 seasons, almost a full 2 years. When it ended was the supposed or attempted ambush of the Ballanduran army within the swamplands, lured there by a conspiring Duke and Duchess of Grey Manor. They had conspired with the Sea Lords of Riverrun to entrap the Ballandur army inside the swamplands and slaughter them. Unknown to Grey Manor, though, the Sea Lords used this information to barter an alliance with King Aaron of Ballandur, and even brokered a marriage treaty, marrying off the new Sea Lord, Dagon Saltburn, to the heir to Ballandur, Lena, the Princess Lena. This ambush was due to be sprung, and at the last moment, the Riverrun army turned on Grey Manor forces, pushing them deeper into the swamp, routing them, and threatening to defeat Grey Manor for good. All 3 armies pushed deeper and deeper and engaged in what was known as the Battle of Hag's Hearth, at the deepest and oldest part of the swamp where thick green mist obscures even the keenest of eyes. The united forces of Ballandur and Riverrun pursued Grey Manor, and none of these armies were seen again. After dozens of missing scouting parties, an armistice was called and the royal houses themselves investigated. Not a lot is known about what happened as these 3 royal houses convened on Hag's Hearth. But what was discovered was that the blood shed in Hag's Hearth mixed with noxious toxins and created a deadly poison that killed all who had inhaled it. This immense bloodshed meant that the swamplands were walled off for good, and the war was ended as a peace treaty was signed there. Now, unfortunately for the House of Ballandur, a plague had started to spread across their kingdom. This did eventually result in the death of the queen before the end of the war and the king after the war. Now, right at the end, just as she was sent to marry the Sea Lord Dagon Saltburn, Lena's ship was lost at sea and the heir apparent to Ballandur died, leaving only the middle prince, Prince Duncan, to succeed his father, who passed away very shortly after the war. Our story is going to take place 16 years later, or 20 years later, as the Princess Alice, Duncan's only child, comes to her 16th birthday there. Her mother passed away several years ago, and she is now approaching what is considered of age to be an adult here. She is the only heir to the throne. Our story is going to take place just before that birthday at the Feasting Festival, a large harvest time festival that marks the start of the Orong season, a season of harvest where the people celebrate by eating on the crown's kind of coin, and a massive party is thrown essentially where everyone is fed and drinks really well before they then have to go into 10 days upon 10 days of harvest time, of hard work to reap that before a very hot season of summer, known as Svelte, comes about. Now, your characters, let's just chat about where they fit in. Tristan, we're going to start at you as the oldest of this party here. And this party isn't a party. It's not going to start as a party. You're going to start as 4 individuals. But fill us in.
So Tash Carver has been around for a while. He's in his early 40s, so was sort of the height of his vigor at the end of the war. and then settle down, help sort of establish the rules of Mary Forge. It was sort of a part of creating the system of protectors there. And then very, very quickly settled down and became a woodcarver, and just put all of his effort into just day-to-day monotony. No one's life is at risk. No bandits are gonna come screaming out of the woods to rob the town. Every now and then, he might have to settle a fight, might have to end a scrap, but the war and his past, it's all behind him, and Tash has tried to be a good member of the community and live true to these values of the old ways.
And during the war, you were a part of what was known as Llewellyn's Men, which was a party of 9 adventurers formed by Prince Duncan to avenge his brother when he felt early on in the war that his father, the king, wasn't doing enough.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big deal.
What are you?
Come on, I beat some people up. They were the wrong people I guess they were the right people to beat up, but they were the wrong kind of guys. And yeah, I was close with the king. I think since the prince was made the king, he and I have had sort of not an active falling out, but just, he's got his life going on. He doesn't need me poking around his business. And I've stayed close with only one other person from the band of Llewellyn's Men, and that is Protector Corinth, who I think lends us to a transition.
Yes, yeah, we can head over to Marie here, noting that it's Llewellyn's Men, and it's a bit of a misnomer because there are at least 2 women in the
like
company.
Llewellyn's guys, yeah.
It's the gender-neutral use of the word men.
Yeah, Llewellyn's boys.
All right, Marie, do you want to tell us about Brava?
So Brava is an orc, and as I sort of talked a bit about before, but she grew up also in Mary Forge. Did you say grew up there? Yes. And her family is full of guards. Is a guard family or protector? Did you talk about that?
They are the protector is seen as the highest rank you can get amongst guards. So your mother is a protector, and your twin brothers are known as defenders, which are kind of the grunt level guard.
Yeah, cool. And the family definitely very keen for me to follow in the family footsteps. I think there's an element of we don't go outside that role. We all do what we do, especially maybe since the war, because it's Mary Forge and it's very like following the rules, and there's not a lot of happiness there potentially.
Yeah, it definitely was a very, very happy place. And after it was sacked by the Rivermen, it became a very bad place there. And there are still groups and tribes of Rivermen and bandits that do come to the town as it sits on a border. But it's maybe not something that Tash has to deal with, but it's something that the protectors and the defenders do.
So she's only known it because she's only 16. So she's only known it since the war and that kind of vibe. As we took the charlatan background, I kind of like the idea that if there's bandits and stuff coming into the town, that maybe she's chatted to a few bandits when she sneaks out.
Probably like in the town dungeon, when they've been in the dungeon where your mother has restrained them. There's an idea of you sneaking down, give them the food, like don't give them anything, intimidate them a bit, practice that, and you've gone down and been like. How do you steal from people?
Yeah, I love that.
What is something you say when you have a captive?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, all right, what you want to do is you want to look them right in the eye and you want to say, that's a pretty nose you've got there. And you're like taking notes down.
Literally.
Yeah,
literally.
great.
Pretty nose.
Like, copying.
You've got a pretty nose.
Call them pretty.
Call them pretty.
And I think Brava really loves her uncle and likes the idea of a lot of what he does and does learn from him, but also will, just as much as she runs away from her family kind of responsibilities, she'll do that a little bit to him. But I think there's a bit more, there's something about him that draws her in more than her family's
I
ideals.
feel like when you if you disobey or go against my will, I think it's less of a oh, we must discipline this kid, and more of a it's free spirit.
yeah. There's an absolute bond there.
You said uncle there. We are not blood related, but it's like one of those family friends where they're always going to come around for Christmas, or they've I've canonically known your mom forever.
Yeah. You've definitely been, that best friend vibe, and I've known you forever, and definite closeness there. And my father is a baby daddy who I don't have any connection to.
He's estranged. He works in the town. He's a blacksmith, Thrain, strong arm. He is much more doting on your older twin brothers. But by the time your mother had you, they were already kind of separated and estranged. And it seemed like maybe a night of passion got her pregnant with you there. But he doesn't really want a lot to do with his daughter.
Yeah.
Rude.
Them is the brakes.
Hey, don't knock it till you try it.
Don't knock being a parent until you don't be a parent.
Don't knock being rude to your child until you've tried being rude to your child.
We'll report back.
Yeah,
Let's
we'll
try
report
it.
back.
You two have children.
Get back.
Two mothers at the table.
Give them the cold shoulder. See what they do. All right, Rihanna.
So Penny, she comes from a small pig farm. I'm going to go with the backstory that her parents died from like a plague after the war, so probably about 20 years ago. So I don't think she actually really remembers her parents at all. Like a very, very distant, like remembers there being someone there, but doesn't really remember a thing about them. So she grew up with two siblings. She's got an older sister who is like a seamstress in the town. And she's got an older brother who the farm was left to. So he's, I think he's like the middle child. He's taken over the farm. And I think she does have like a good relationship with them both, but, still like the sibling rivalries and what have you. But yeah, she's definitely the youngest child, a bit more free-spirited, likes to kind of just take off without kind of telling anyone.
I think we spoke about quite a bit of tension between you and your sister Pippa, actually. And the fact that she wants to be very proper and works as a seamstress in the city, wears nice things, makes nice things, speaks a bit more proper and puts that on. And you are kind of a bit dirty and a little bit childish. And you manage to work at the castle that she wants to be in, and you get to take the pony all the way to work, and she has to work through the dust and get her hem dirty, and it kind of frustrates her there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think your brother is the one who mediates the family.
Yeah. And I feel like Penny absolutely just sort of fell into the job at the castle. Like it's maybe not something that she was like looking for. And I think that maybe irritates her sister even more, that, maybe her sister really wants to be a seamstress or, work with the princess even. And then here I am just rocking up one day and be like, oh yeah, I got a job. And yeah, we have one pony and I get to take it to work every day.
What is the pony's name?
Ned.
Love.
So strong.
Yeah.
A pony
Ned.
with a masculine male name is a great pony name. Bill?
Bill.
Bill the pony.
Bill the pony.
Bill the pony. We love Bill the pony. Mads, over to you.
Yes, Nora also works. Well, is studying at the castle or the keep in Ballandor. She was born in Ballandor. Her mum and dad own and run and kind of constantly work in a local bookshop called Where There's a Quill, There's a Way, which I think is just absolutely wonderful. All credit to Scott for that one. It's a brilliant name.
At me with your bookshop names.
Give us some more. But yeah, Nora kind of grew up in that bookshop, surrounded by like information all the time, and just kind of fell in love with learning about history and what happens in this land all around her. And through that study, picked up the study of the arcane and just kind of had a knack for it, and just kind of connected to learning a bit more about magic as she went along as well. And is really, really into figuring out where those patterns of history might repeat themselves next or have repeated themselves in the past. And so really loves studying history, knows a lot about the history of the land and the history of these wars, and sometimes gets a little bit annoyed that she doesn't have any first-hand accounts of what's happened and she wasn't there. She's 15.
If you are very skilled with books, do you have a vernacular for it? It's a word pun of knack and vernacular.
She does. Let's go with that. Her parents were really proud of her. They've got some kind of connection to Grey Manor in the history of an elven lineage somewhere. We know that her great-great-great-grandmother was exiled from there for some reason, unknown. But her parents are quite proud of that connection to Elvish history. And so when she kind of grew that connection to magic, they were pretty proud of that. And so petitioned for her to become the wizard's apprentice at court and was successful. She passed her tests and has been apprenticing under the wizard Voltaire for a number of years now. And is also, like Princess Alice, drawing closer to her 16th birthday when she'll have to do another set of testing.
Are you into Princess Pals?
Yeah, we're friends. I would say we've been friends for quite a number of years.
Yeah, Marie's also pals.
Marie, besties.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, Princess Alice and Nora are definitely friends, but it's a bit of a I'm the bookish nerd to her kind of tomboyish chaotic energy. And I think there's a good little bit of a back and forth there between us where I would happily read 1,000 books.
So cute.
Yeah. Yep. No, it's I'm excited to see where we go, actually.
That's all for today's Session 0, but you can catch the next episode of Together Adventure right now. Catch our players as they take their first steps into the world of Vheil with a very special prequel episode, The Road to Ord. Thanks for listening to Together Adventure. We'll see you next time.